it's manager Kylie, and in today's video I'm going to share with you the rules of rugby union. So today I'm going to go through the rules of rugby union. This is a very common form of rugby, and I will have future videos explaining the rules of other forms of rugby. I also have some videos on positioning for rugby, so if you're interested in those, definitely check those out as well. I will have those linked either in the iCard or at the end. And if you're interested in more sports administration content just like this, definitely subscribe button, turn the bell so you get notified every time I upload, as I have tons of content coming out to you. For 2023, it'll be every other Wednesday, so definitely be on the lookout for that. So rugby union is a pretty traditional way to play rugby. There's also rugby league and rugby sevens. These are some other forms of rugby as well. And in this video, I'm going to go through the rugby union rules, but I will have separate videos on both rugby league and rugby sevens going through their rules, so just be on the lookout for those. For rugby union, you do play 15 on 15. Obviously, the goal of the game is to have the most points at the end to win. You're playing on a field that's around 100 meters long. And at the end, there's two goalpost type areas that you're able to use for kicking, which I'll explain more later in the video. So when you have the ball in your possession, you can either run the ball forward. You're also able to kick the ball forward. However, if you're going to pass it to a teammate, you're not allowed to pass it forward. You actually have to pass it either lateral or behind you. And within rugby, there are 4 different ways to score. The most common one is a try. So what this is you have to take the ball with downward pressure and put it down on the goal line. Really past the goal line, and that scores you 5 points. From there, you're going to go straight out perpendicular from that spot. Then you're going to be able to kick a conversion. This is worth 2 points. You're given this after a try. Nobody's in your way. You're just kicking it, but you kick it exactly perpendicular, out 20 meters from where you scored that try. And for this one, it is a placed kick, which means the ball is placed on the ground and then you run up and kick it. If your opponent commits a foul, you may also choose to do a penalty kick. This is generally if you're close enough, and this is worth 3 points, and your goal again is to kick it through the posts. And then the final way to score is also worth 3 points. It's called a drop goal, and this is just in the middle of play. If you drop kick the ball through the post, over the crossbar, you're able to score 3 points that way. So this one, obviously the ball's not placed on the ground. You drop it, you let it hit the ground, and then you kick it through the post across the crossbar. Now, when a team's trying to score, you obviously, if you're on the other team, are trying to stop them. This is done by tackling them. So you're going to tackle them down to the ground to try to get possession of the ball. And when you're trying to tackle them, you just have to grab them below the shoulders. So you can't be going for their head. You got to grab them below the shoulders to try to tackle them down. And once a player is tackled to the ground, they must release possession of the ball. That's why you'll notice once somebody's tackled down, everybody kind of dives in to try to get that ball. That's because they can't have possession anymore, and each team wants access to the ball. And as these teams are pushing each other out of the way to try to get that ball, that's actually known as a ruck. It's the two teams pushing each other away to try to get possession of the ball. Another thing you might see is a maul, and this is actually a ruck, but while standing up. So if the players are still standing up instead of being on the ground, this is called the maul. Same idea, you're pushing each other out of the way to try to get possession of the ball. And for timing of the game, it's played in 2 40-minute halves, and there's no limit on how long a team could have possession of the ball. The one team could have possession for the whole time. As it is, you score, you get to keep possession. So every time your team scores, the other team kicks it back off to you, and you get possession again. So you could end up with possession for the entire game if you're really strong compared to your opponent. A few other things you might see in rugby that you want to know about is knock on. So what this is it's actually something that's illegal. If a player has possession of the ball, they can't swing and hit it forward, because that's kind of like throwing it forward. So if for some reason they're running with the ball and they drop it and they try to hit it forward in that ruck situation as they're getting tackled, they're not allowed to do it. It actually automatically becomes the other team's ball, because that's like throwing it forward, which you're not allowed to do. A scrum is something very common in rugby that you hear a lot, and this is a method of restarting play. So players, all the forwards will lock arms together, and one team will throw the ball into the scrum, and the teams will push each other around to try to get possession of the ball and to continue their play. So the lines around the outside of the field are called touch lines, and if the ball goes anywhere beyond those lines, it's considered in touch. So it's out of bounds, it's considered in touch, which means there's going to be some sort of method that needs to restart play because the play has been paused. And a very common way to restart play this time is called a line out, and this is something you may see in rugby. You may see why they're lifting players up. This happens at a line out, so both teams line up with about a meter in between them on each side, and then the ball is tossed through the middle of the two teams, and the two teams go at possession. This is when those teams will be lifting their players up in the air to try to get the ball before it gets onto the ground. They want to get that ball in the air to try to grab possession. So that's the basic rules of rugby union. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I do have a separate video on their positions, as well as I will have videos coming up on the other different forms of rugby and their rules. There's some similarities and some differences between all of them, but I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.